Welcome, my dear listeners. Stay with me to get the spoilers first and subscribe to the channel. Let's find out what's going to happen on The Young and the Restless. Kidnap with a bombshell. Victor is in charge of the real Young and the Restless story, and Jack is the prize. The headline that is going around online is louder than the spoilers themselves. The version that is going around says that Jack and Matt choke Victor and take him hostage. But the news reports say the opposite. Victor takes Jack hostage and uses him as leverage in the latest Newman Abbott power play. Slip Dirty Laundry said that Victor kidnaps Jack to get Chancellor, while Soap Hub's March 5 spoiler said that Billy tells Kyle that Jack is Victor's prisoner again and that Jack is Victor's prisoner again. Soap Dirt also said that Jack wakes up groggy on Victor's yacht after being dragged by Victor's thugs. People are talking about this story because of that twist. The Young and the Restless has a way of turning business competition into personal imprisonment, and this one is no different. The current spoiler trail shows Victor looking for leverage after other plans around Chancellor fail, and then he picks Jack as his next target. Soap Hub says that Victor had already been trying to use Lily and her kids, who he thought were kidnapped against Kane. But when that plan gets too complicated, he changes his mind and goes after Jack instead. To put it another way, the kidnapping is not random. It is a smart move and it fits Victor's style perfectly. The setup also explains why fans are getting names wrong online. At the same time, there is a separate story about Matt Clark. In this story, Matt traps Sharon and Noah and puts Nick in danger. The April spoilers for the soap scene say that Matt's trap blows up while Sharon and Noah are walking in, and the April 17 recap says that Sharon leaves to help Nick. That other crisis is probably why some people are mixing up Matt's name with Jack's story online, even though the Jack kidnapping spoilers are about Victor, not Matt. When Jack is taken, the stakes go from fighting in the boardroom to staying alive. The March 5 spoiler from Soap Hub says that Billy tells Kyle the news and Kyle immediately wants to fight back. It also makes it clear that Jack is once again Victor's prisoner, and the emotional weight of that is important because Jack and Victor's fight isn't new. It's been going on for a long time and has gotten worse over time. The new kidnapping doesn't start a fight, it just makes one that has never really gone away into a weapon. Soap Hub's covers also explain the business side of the kidnapping. Victor wants to trade Jack for Chancellor, which makes the kidnapping seem less like a random act of cruelty and more like a move in a game of chess. The spoiler article says that Victor wants to use Jack as a bargaining chip to get Chancellor back, and the whole thing is framed as a reaction to failed plans involving Kane and Phyllis. That means Jack is not only a hostess but also the bargaining chip in a much bigger fight over who will control Genoa City's power and legacy. The picture of Jack on a yacht makes it even more ridiculous, like a soap opera. According to Soap Dirt's report, Jack wakes up groggy, obviously dragged, banging on the door and trying to figure out where he is. Victor's thugs are involved in the kidnapping. That part makes the story feel like a classic daytime drama. A helpless wake up, a small space, and a bad guy who always seems to be one step ahead until the very end. It also makes the audience wonder how far Victor plans to go before someone steps in and changes the game. And someone does try to help. The March 5 spoiler says that Billy tells Kyle what happened and Kyle gets ready to fight back against Victor, even though the site jokingly says that he might not have much power to do it directly. That little detail is important because it shows that Jack isn't alone in this fight. Billy is pushing the rescue angle and Kyle is trying to figure out how to help. That means Victor may be in charge of the beginning of the story, but the Abbotts aren't going to let Jack stay locked up without saying anything. The story also has a cruel sense of deja vu built into it. Soap Hop says that the last time Victor kidnapped Jack, he was replaced by a lookalike named Marco. That story ended in trauma that still affects the characters. That history is important because it makes this new kidnapping story more real. This is not just Victor being Victor. Victor is reopening a wound that the show has already shown can cause long-term harm. When a soap opera goes back to a kidnapping story that bad, viewers know things are going to get messy. The kidnapping also fits in with the bigger story cycle for April. The April 13 to 17 spoiler grid for the soap scene says Jack is getting payback, and the April 17 episode says that Victor helps Diane give Jack a test of his own medicine. That means that even after the kidnapping, Jack is still at the center of Victor's revenge plans. To put it another way, the kidnapping isn't a one-time thing. Jack is being punished, cornered, and forced to react all week long. That kind of framing makes Victor look even more heartless than usual. The same spoiler material shows him using kidnapping as leverage and then switching to other forms of pressure once he gets what he wants. It reminds me that one, the young and the restless power doesn't usually show up as a clean legal motion or a fair business deal. It usually comes with a private room, a hidden boat, or a threat that was made after the fact. If you can call it that, Victor's genius is knowing how to make every move feel both personal and necessary. What makes this even more interesting is that Jack isn't a passive victim in the long run, even though he is stuck for a short time. The spoiler coverage during the same keeps him connected to the bigger fight between Abbott and Newman, with Billy, Kyle, and Diane all getting involved in the same fight. The April 17 spoiler that Victor helps Diane give Jack a test of his own medicine suggests that Jack's enemies are still using his situation to their advantage. So even though he was kidnapped, he is still being used as a pawn in a much bigger family fight. That's why the Jack and Matt Chuck Victor version of the story online feels so wrong. The real reporting is much clearer. Victor makes the move, takes Jack, uses the kidnapping to get what he wants, and his enemies rush to respond. Matt Clark is in a different nightmare on the canvas, one that has nothing to do with Jack and Victor but everything to do with Nick and Sharon. The names might be getting mixed up in social media posts, but the trail of spoilers is pretty clear once you put them in order. And that makes the story even better so. Now the audience can focus on the real question: how long can Victor keep Jack trapped before Billy, Kyle, Diane, or someone else finally turns the board? Soap Hop's spoiler made it sound like Billy and Kyle were already on the move, and Soap Dirt's report makes it clear that Jack is still alive, groggy, and trying to get away. That means the story is still going on, and the rescue or counterattack could happen at any time. The big news is not that Jack kidnaps Victor. Victor has Jack right where he wants him again: the yacht, the drugs, the leverage, and the Chancellor angle, and the family scramble all point to the classic hostage situation in Genoa City. And if the show has taught people anything, it's that when Victor starts using Jack as a bargaining chip, the effects usually go beyond the man in the room. And this is the moment where the story stops being just another rivalry and starts feeling like a line has been crossed. Because when Victor turns Jack into leverage again, it's not business anymore, it's personal in the most dangerous way. Honestly, this kind of move makes me question something deeper. Is Victor still the strategic mastermind fans admire? Or is he becoming someone who wins at any cost, even if it destroys everything around him? And that shifts matters, because once power turns into control like this, it rarely goes back. But here's what really pulls you in. Jack may be trapped now, but history has shown he never stays down for long. So the real tension isn't if he gets out, it's how far he will go when he does. And that opens the door to something even bigger. What if this kidnapping doesn't end with a rescue but with a revenge that flips the entire Abbott-Newman balance? Because if Bill and Kyle step in too fast, they could make things worse. But if they wait too long, they might lose Jack completely. So what would you do in their place? Rush in and risk everything? Or play it smart and risk losing time? And here's the question that really lingers. Has Victor has just won the battle or accidentally started a war he cannot control? Because if this story keeps building the way it is, the fallout won't stay on that yet. It's going to hit every corner of Genoa City. Something big is coming, and the next move might be the one no one sees until it's too late.